Hello friends and flight simmers, welcome to Lhasa airport located in Tibet in China. Today we will do a bit of special operations here, something I have not done before in that kind of scope. But today is gonna be a super interesting flight. For those of you who don't know Lhasa airport, let me briefly explain. So I was looking at some operations which are maybe a bit more challenging, a bit different to our day-to-day normal operations. So I was thinking maybe let's get a high altitude airfield and do some flying there. So I looked around a bit where to fly, and when thinking about high altitude airfields, one might think about, I don't know, Johannesburg, which is at like 5,000 feet. Then of course there's famously Quito, which is I believe around 8,000 feet. But then if you look a bit further and you come here to China, you find airports like these, like Lhasa for example, airport elevation around 13,000 feet. That's 5,000 feet higher than Quito. That is pretty mind-blowing in many ways. And actually to fly here, to operate in and out of this airfield, airlines actually require some specific equipment. So there's essentially, by the way, it makes me go crazy, like this camera goes back and forth. I don't know how to switch it off in Chaseplane. Anyhow, so airlines flying in and out of this airport essentially use three types of aircraft. So what you will find here is the A319, the 737-700 and the A330-200. So all of these aircrafts are pretty performant in many ways, since are rather small compared to their bigger siblings and have a high power to weight ratio. Now for the A319 specifically, this one is featuring the CFM56 5B7 engines. We will talk about this in just a second. So that's like the highest powered A319 out there. Also interestingly, these Chinese airlines operating in and out of Tibet are essentially the only ones in the world who have ordered and who are using the A319 Neo, which hardly plays any role in like Europe or America or somewhere else, but here it actually does play a significant role. So talking about the engines, briefly allow me to pull up a good old Wikipedia page of the CFM56 engine. So this is the 5B7 sported on the A319, and this is like the high power version. So this has 20,000 pounds of thrust compared to the B4, which has the same amount of thrust, and I believe this is the most popular version for the A320. So it's essentially, in a way, they have fitted the A320 engine on the A319. You can also fly, look at this, you can also fly the A320 with much less thrust, 23,500. So this is really a beast. It's like a sports car. And I believe, looking at the Western Hemisphere, I believe pretty much the only other airline operating this kind of setup is American Airlines, who is using these A319s to rocket out of Key West, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so this is a pretty powerful aircraft. Yet you will see on the climb out, it really, I mean, it's not struggling in a way that we will hit the mountains, but it's a shallow climb out. You will see that once we depart. Right, so I am super excited to do this flight. Also first time for me flying in mainland China. I don't think I've ever done that kind of stuff before. So I have actually fly-by-wire AI traffic running, but it seems like coverage of these airlines here is not too great. Anyhow, maybe it will be a bit better in Kunming. Let's get inside and let's get going. Look at the terrain around. It's crazy. Mountains all around. Right. Yeah, here we are. That was a long introduction. So aircraft is loaded. Let's see where we're in terms of weight. Yeah, so far away from max takeoff weight. But let's see for the performance. I think this is pretty much maxing out. They don't go on much longer flights than this one out of these airports. And look at this. Two interesting things. First of all, they don't seem to be using CPDLC in China. I think that's the feet to meter conversion tables on here. And look at this, cabin altitude warning, flashing. Not sure. I would believe these aircrafts out there are equipped with a special mechanism that would not flash in red on the ground here, but I have no idea, to be honest. One thing I have noticed though, and I think that's an inaccuracy in Microsoft Flight Sim. The terrain coverage here in China is not very great compared to other regions of the world. It's indicating 11,600. Airport elevation is actually... wait, let me pull it up on Navigraph. Oh, it is, sorry, my mistake, 11,700. Oh gosh, I was looking at the longest runway, which is like 13,000. Yeah, so it is actually quite spot on. Disregard what I said before. All right, so let's do a quick setup. Checking overhead panel. This is okay. Passengers are in there already. Do we need to go into ATSU, AOC menu, flight init, request? Yeah, I think this will be now a very quick setup, which is a good thing. So load sheet, preliminary we can accept, and that's then the final. Cool. So init request, by the way, up here very importantly, CFM56-5B7. That's the powerful version. Right. Flight number is gonna be Tibet. I don't know the call sign, I'm just noticing. Tango Bravo Alpha, let's look it up in just a second. And the flight number 9877. Cost index and cruise altitude. Cost index is 40, cruise altitude. That makes no sense. 11,300 meters, I suppose this is 40. Now 11,300. Can we actually enter it in meter, or do I need to convert? 11,300. 37,100 then, right? Yeah, alright. That seems to be working. In it, block fuel 8.2. And then on the way it's 54.8 at 30.3. Right, alternate fuel 2.4. Now for the departure or the airport layout, let me pull up the charts. It seems like for some reason the chart coverage is really bad. So that's the airfield. They have two parallel runways. Seems like looking on flight radar, they are almost always using the outer one for both departures and arrivals. So we will taxi Bravo November Echo 1, and then shoot out of 10 left. Whether we don't have a META even. Holy cow, that's gonna be interesting. And then it's located quite interesting. Yeah, flight route, by the way, that's what they typically fly. Might be since they need to stay in Chinese airspace, and also I think there's really a lack of alternates around here. So they have this very interesting situation here. So they shoot out of usually on 10 left. They land on 10 left. The approach, although there's no chart for the approach into 10 left, but what you see in flight radar, they come along this valley and then pretty much fly a visual turn along this valley. I think that's a beautiful and also challenging approach as well. Maybe I also need to do this one day, but today we will focus on the departure, which is going to be quite straightforward. So yeah, on heading off 090 out to Zedang. What you see on flight radar is they actually follow quite nicely the valley. I'm not quite sure if the autopilot is going to do that, but we will check it out. If not, we will fly just a little bit manually. Yeah, I don't think the chart coverage here is 100% accurate. Right, departure, 10 left. Yeah, there's more available here, but it's not a Navigraph. That is super interesting. But we are flying the Delta Mike. There's departure, 10 left. What is that? To be fair, this looks more like what they fly on Flight Radar actually compared to the Delta Mike, because that's just straight out, but they don't do that. Okay, so let's go departure 10 left. Transition then. What waypoint do we match? We actually match. Cool. We need to skip through this in just a second. Arrival, we will plan ILS 21 Zulu. Oops, no. We need the Nixas arrival. Da. There we go. Nix. Mike Papa 1. Okay, let's see. So the 10 left departure, there's these few waypoints. LS 512, speed 220, okay. Let's skip along in the flight plan, but this looks alright to me. 2 mix, okay, perfect. Copy active init, wind, request, and then let's kick on the APU so we can shoot out of here. 1009 constraints like this. Altitude, oh gosh, let's go 371, right? Meters. Right, so that's all set up then. Is fuel prediction now looking better? Not quite, actually. Burning 5 tons in 2 hours. Is that realistic? Maybe it is. Yeah, let's see when we get there. I will cut it some slack. Maybe it's not entirely accurate. Right then, performance. That's the interesting bit. Departure. 10 left. Optimum. Force toggle not necessarily. Anti-ice off. Packs. Let's try on, but I think it's more realistic to actually turn them off. Weather. I don't have weather. Where can I pull up the weather? Well, we know that altimeter is supposed to be 1009. I saw some weather. Where did it indicate the weather? It was when loading into the airport. It's a temperature 6 degrees. I think it was like 020 at 5. But let's leave it 0 then. That's more. Yeah, that's a safer approach to do it. So 1 up 06, flex temperature 32, so still a little bit of flex. 143, 146, 151. Stop margin 555 feet, which is not a lot for an A319 in the most powerful version. 4-kilometer runway. We're gonna use it all. That's gonna be fun. Packs 32, 36. Should we try packs off? Right. Ground speed is gonna be insane on the departure. 142, 46.50. $36. Alright. That is all set up. Very cool stuff. Right then, cockpit preparation checklist. Or actually, let's go to APU first. APU bleed, this goes off. Gear pins and covers are removed, hopefully. Fuel quantity, we have 8.2 tons on board. Seatbelts are on. Steers are nav without double checking. Should be right. Barrel is set 1009er. Right then. Beacons, that should trigger it if I'm not mistaken. That looks good. Fuel pumps. And then we go 1000 on the squawk. Let's go TARA. Hardly makes any difference right now. Doors are closed, so before start checks, parking brake is set, takeoff speeds and thrust are inserted. Windows are closed and beacons are on before start check is completed. Alright then. Ignition start, and then we will start with the right one. Alright, pushback is completed. There's one thing that I've spotted which really worries me. Look at the windsocks. That indicates like at least a 25 knot stiff tailwind for our departure. And I'm really skeptical if this is the correct weather, but I think this is the weather we have in Microsoft Flight Sim, so we have to act according to that, right? Meaning we need to depart the other way, which is gonna be scenic as well. I think we actually fly the turn then. I just don't have a chart on it, so let's work some quick magic here. If we now depart 28 right, departure for 2 right, I believe it is. Yeah, with the big turn. And then, what transition can we use? Let's see, Doomix, right? 28 to 7, I have no idea, honestly. No charts, no idea. Let's try this. Really beautiful turn there, and then then actually takes us to Doomix. Okay, that's kind of cool. That's exactly what we need. Bit of detour, but kind of cool. Right then, for the performance, of course, we need to recalculate. 28 right. So that's still accurate. Now wind. What do we guess? It's gonna be like a 280 at 20 maybe? Let's go conservative. If it's more, then okay. Still indicating very short stop margin, which is kind of strange. Anyhow, 1 up 06, 36, and then speeds 145, 48, 42. Alright, if this is what we have, then that's what we have, right? Good engine start, starter back to normal, AP bleed off, master switch off, auto brake max, flap 1, this goes armed, trim up 06, Around there, flight controls, all looking good. Really cool to have these custom PA announcements. Right then, after start checklist, anti-ice not regret, ECAM status check pitch trim, set up 06 right from neutral. Taxi turn off lights. Let's go. We need to swing around the other way. Let's go this way. Yeah, so I just checked Flight Radar. They actually are departing runway 28, so the Microsoft Flight Sim weather does not seem to be too bad after all. It just really bothers me that we can't get an actual META for this airfield. Why is my right side engine not on? Ah, you gotta be kidding me. Did I actually forget to start it? Wow. TJ, what the actual heck? Should be starting from the mistaking. I think engine 2 bleed needs to be off for the moment. Low start air pressure. Oh, I switched it around. Sorry, this one needs to be off, right? No, then this has no one. God, I haven't done that in a long time. PEX maybe. That's probably drawing the air, right? So we have bleed pressure now. Starting the right side, that should do it, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, let's do this again. Let's do it the proper way now. Crossbleed engine start. Procedure should only be performed when parking brake is set. Let's disregard that. APU bleed is off. Engine bleed running engine is on. Engine bleed receiving engine is off. That's what I thought. X bleed is open. Now we do the normal start procedure, which is ignition to start and starting up the engine. I feel like PEX should still be off since they draw a lot of bleed power. What am I doing wrong? A bit more power gives a bit more bleed pressure. There we go. Okay, idle power is not enough. And 2's rising. That's looking okay. Rising very slowly though. pressure. Come on, where's my ignition? EGT rising slowly. There we go now, right? That should do the trick. Available, nice. Finally, starter back to normal. Engine 2 on, that's auto, packs 1 and 2. Right. Right, now we are getting there. This is gonna be a beautiful turn, I believe. And we have to note we have a speed constraint of 200 knots to this waypoint, so we will be staying on flap 1 for a bit. Clean speed is 211. And now we can get going finally. There was a long taxi. Lineup checklist, takeoff runway is confirmed to it, right? TCAS is TAR, pack 1 and 2. Let's double check, so we have planned off. Let's go off then. Right, that should be fun. Starting the recorder for whatever it might be worth. Starter timing, chrono. And then we can fire away. Let's go then. Manflex 36 SAS runway or thrust blue. Okay, that's automatically, I believe. Yeah, it's a really stiff headwind now. But still, it's gonna be interesting. Look at how long we need to accelerate now at this altitude. And remember, it's a 4-kilometer runway. It is a really, really long runway, and we are having the most powerful A319. And look at this, 130 ground speed, now 140. And that's still with the wind of 25 knots. So that's rotate. Careful, although it's possible to tail strike the A319. Pause rate, gear up. Look at how much runway we used. This is so cool. Need to watch the speed. Climb power. Pack 1, let's follow the flight director. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, it's really cool to hand fly it, but also I want to get these views. Yeah, gotcha.
Terrain ahead. Pull
Terrain
up.
is actually ahead.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
cool. Although I'm really failing to follow the flight director, but the views are just too good. Right, we are still kind of struggling to climb out of... Well, not struggling, but you know, it's like compared to other A319 flights. We are pretty much back on profile. I just did hit the auto retract there, but that's alright. Getting a bit bumpy now. Look at this. Right, look at our flight path. Takes us along the valley. I think the city of Lhasa is actually back there. I suppose that's quite a drive to the airport, but again, not easy to place an airport in mountains here. Okay, now we can retract. Alright folks, good stuff. Not too bad. That was fun. Look at this, cabin altitude is now decreasing. Cool stuff. Thanks for tuning in for the departure and enjoy the cruise, and we will meet back for the landing into Kunming. Enjoy. Alright folks, welcome back. As you can see, things just took a bit of a wild turn. Not quite sure what happened here, but this got a little bit out of control just now. Can we... descent heading. I can't get my autopilot to work anymore. Speed... Ah, that's why. Oh, I hate this. I didn't even change anything. What's going on here? Red out? FAC1 fault. Alright then. Fun. Okay, now this is getting a bit tricky now in a one-person cockpit. Maximum speed 320. Okay, that's something we should do then. Auto thrust off. FAC1 and 2 fault. Rudder with care. Above 140. Minimum red speed 140, max speed 320. Is it a failure? I've never before experienced a failure in the Phoenix. That's the first time I'm having that. For landing, use flap 3. Interesting. Now we should do that. Flap 3 then. Not sure if we should prep the landing now, but I think it's pretty much the only chance we have. Approach speed, VREF plus 10, landing distance. Procedure apply. Alright, now we are on the Clydes, not on the Clyde slope, but on the localizer. And to get get rid of the speed. We're coming in a bit fast. Not sure if we can make it in this approach. Maybe we need to take another turn. What's going on with my aircraft? Red is actually out. That's so strange. Is that a proper failure? I should check the Fenix system page maybe. Inoperative system. Wind shear detect. Flight control. FAC 1 and 2. Autopilot 1 and 2. Auto thrust. Cat 2. Okay. Fun, fun, fun. Not too bad. But other than that, I feel like we should be able to do a more or less normal landing. There's no ECAM actions which we need to take as such. So it's just gonna be a more or less normal landing. Auto brake works, that's good. And then that's gonna be 141 plus 10 they said, right? 141. Can we use speed brakes? Yes, nothing against that, right? Okay, that's now back and managed. Fly heading. Yeah, those don't work. Interesting that the autopilot is out of service completely then. But alright. Interesting stuff. But why did the red came out there? I mean, engines are working, generators are fine, right? That's a bit strange. I don't know, I'm not an A320 expert. Okay, runway is there. Now, okay, that caught me a little bit off guard. So now we didn't really prep for the airport. Going into Kunming, still a high elevation airfield, so that's at around 7,000 feet, right? So that's still almost Quito kind of elevation, right? So obviously not as high as Lhasa, where we just departed, but still quite high nevertheless. Let's drop the gear and drag. All the drag I can get. Manual pitch trim, yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, that one. Flight director is pretty much useless right now.
2000.
Yeah, not the best stable approach, right? So that's pretty messed up in many ways. But we're gonna be all right. But it's interesting how different the aircraft behaves now. No auto trim. Flap 2, and then we can make that work eventually. Ooh. Now you can really feel the flap effect. And flaps 3. Landing checklist. Oh gosh, there's so much to do here all at once. Green apart from cabin, but cabin we don't really care about right now. Oh, it hand flies terribly now. Really terrible feeling.
Right slope.
Oh man, that's horrible.
Right slope. Right slope.
It's so sensitive.
Right
200,
slope. Pull up. Too low
40,
terrain.
30, 20.
That's unflyable. That's really unflyable.
10,
Come on, get down.
5,
Ooh. There we go. Reverse. Is reverse working? Yeah, it is. Decel. Holy guacamole. Whatever happened there, that was no fun. No fun whatsoever. But interesting, let's check the Phoenix. I'm so curious because I've been flying with failures on since forever. And I never ever got anything. So this might as well be the very first failure I ever received. Oh, off then on. Now it says I can just turn it on again? Oh. Gotta be kidding me. Should have tried that earlier. Let's see. I'm taking a left-hand turn, but on the next one. And then we taxi up to the other terminal. This one. And then we will just get ourselves a stand. Although there's no traffic. Let's go to the traffic. I believe they usually would park on this terminal, but you know, for today's flight doesn't really matter. Ooh, that was quite something there towards the end. Phoenix really throwing me a challenge here. So 130 something would be cool. 130. .140 is also fine. 140 is just here. 140, there it is. Oh yeah, okay. It's a heavy stand. All right. High brake temperature. We have a fan. That's nice. But I wonder if it's actually Phoenix thrown failure, or if it's just like some complete flight sim buggy type of thing. But we will figure it out in just a second. There we go. Is AP available? Yes. Oh. That does not look good as well. The aircraft is breaking to pieces. Let's see if failures. Red deployed. Can I see anything in here, or is it just... Like, is that the only thing? Red deployed? Come on. Oh, landing distance procedures. Cool. There's the flight control system. That is so cool. And we should have done this one instead, right? Can't even find it. Okay, whatever. But on the failures, I don't get it. I really don't get what's going on. Like, is nothing failed? Anyhow, here we are now in Kunming. Look at this. 2 spoilers still up. Interesting. I really need to read into that kind of failure, see what would be the proper procedure and all that good stuff. But wow, what a flight today! Challenges all along in a way. Really cool to be departing at like 11,000 something feet, and yeah, that failure there towards the end kind of caught me off guard. But we made it eventually to Kunming. Terrible landing, terrible approach as well, but still kind of fun to fly the high power A319 version. Alright folks, so thanks for tuning in, and yeah, looking forward to the next flight, hopefully with a little bit less challenges for me, but let's see about that. Alright, take care and catch you next time. Bye bye.